Okay, let's get started. Welcome to Recipe of the Week. I'm still finding my footing with the types of shows I want to offer, but here is one I know I want to do for you guys every week. I want to do a recipe of the week. It might be something I've already made, it might be something new, and it has to be easy. It has to be something that you can put together and just be like, oh my gosh, that was so easy and it's so delicious. You can't handle it. You can't handle it. So here's what I'm doing. Soy polo chicken is something that I made on Monday night for family dinner, and I got it from my friend Toddy Licious book. This book's like 15 years old now. They're 14. I was 39 and I'm 53. I'm 14 years old. And it's from a restaurant he had gone to called Soy Polo in Thailand on the outskirts of Bangkok. And he talked about this chicken and this delicious soy marinade. And what they do at the restaurant is they fry shallots and garlic, and they put the fried shallots and garlic on top, along with fried jalapenos. I love all of that. However, on a weeknight, I don't do it. And the other night, I just made the marinade and it was so delicious. And I only had like 30 minutes to let the chicken marinate. It's that. And it was amazing. And then I held a little of the marinade back and I used it for some vegetables. So I'm going to do that again tonight. But instead of just doing chicken, I bought some shrimp and I bought some steak. And so I'm going to do the shrimp on the spot tonight with this because it'll absorb a lot of the marinade really quickly, right? And then I'm going to use some of it to do the veggies too. So it's going to come together very fast. Please let me know if you have questions. Drinking my little spindrift. Let's start with the menu. So the other night I used coconut aminos because I didn't have any soy. I'm using gluten-free soy sauce tonight. You can use tamari. I usually have tamari on hand, but I saw gluten-free soy, so I figured why not? It calls for 2 tablespoons sesame oil. I'm going to use 3. I love the nuttiness, the depth of flavor that you get from sesame oil. And then I'm going to hold a little bit back for the veggies to get them started. And then I'll just finish them off with the marinade. Now, his recipe calls for sweet rice wine. I don't keep it in my house anymore. It's not one of the healthiest ingredients for you. It also calls for brown sugar, but here's what I did the other night. I used rice vinegar and I loved it. But tonight I love lime juice. And so I'm going to do 3 tablespoons of lime juice. By the way, I'm writing this recipe out for you. I've already written it up. And once I decide if I like the lime juice a lot, I'll send it out to you tomorrow. Okay. And then I think it calls for 2. How much brown sugar? 3 tablespoons? Not even close, you guys. I'm going to do, that's not even a tablespoon of cane sugar. It caramelizes things really quickly. And so you want it because it's going to add a pretty crust, but you don't want so much that it burns your food. Okay, so here's where I'm going to take some artistic liberties. Besides what I already have, I've done the lime juice instead of the rice wine, and I did less sugar than it calls for. It calls for fresh ginger, a tablespoon chopped. So I'm pulling the skin off of this with the back of a measuring spoon. You can use the tip of any spoon. You could use a peeler if you can really get into these crevices. But, ginger is oddly shaped and it has all these nooks and crannies. So it's never a perfect endeavor anyhow. I'm just trying to get enough off that I can grate it. And let me just get those 2 little nubs. The last time I used my ginger grater, but I realized, you guys, a microplane is perfect for this. You could also coarsely chop it because it'll come out when it's going to flavor the marinade. And then the large pieces just wouldn't go on into the pan with whatever you're cooking, and you wouldn't have to worry about it. But I just like that it kind of melts into the marinade this way. Hi, guys. Thanks for joining. So it calls for a tablespoon shot. Because I'm grating it, there's more surface area of raw ginger exposed. So you could actually use a little bit less. That's just me, depending on how much you feel like grating. I'm actually going to make a fresh juice with a bunch of ginger in it in the morning. And so I'm going to save some. You can also just use your finger to get the rest of this off there, kind of, but that's good enough. Okay. And then the garlic in this recipe and the traditional recipe goes into the fried part, the fried shallots and the fried garlic and jalapenos. However, since I'm not putting the fried goodies on top, I'm just going to chop a little garlic. And I wanted to show you some yucky garlic. I was peeling it. And did I already get rid of the piece that was so ugly? Shoot. I wanted to show you a piece, like a clove that I smash it with my knife and I just peel off the paper of the garlic. But there was one like really brown piece. It just looked rotten. So I just cut it off. And if you have time and you see any green sprouts coming out of it, I usually just open it or slice it open and I try to pull those out as well. Okay. They're just bitter. And so here is the garlic. I'm going to put a little tiny bit of salt on it to chop it because it just acts as an abrasive. So it kind of holds it steady when you chop. By the way, I think on Substack this works as well. Can you guys see all the names popping up on the screen or just me? If you don't like that, you can tap the center of your phone and swipe down with your finger and see if that makes the names go away for you. I think it works, so I've done it too. Let's see if it works on mine. I just like saying who's here. No, maybe my finger's too wet to do it. Okay, so I'm just mincing this garlic. It doesn't have to be perfect or terribly small because, again, it'll just kind of fall off the food in the marinade. But it will be fine enough where it's going to flavor that marinade a little bit. And then we're going to just whisk it up. You know what else you could use instead of brown sugar or cane sugar? You could use honey in it, and it would be a great way to sweeten that. And the cane sugar, when it's larger crystals, excuse me, I'm literally dipping my finger in it. It doesn't dissolve very well. And actually, you know what? I need more sweet than that. I know I want it. And I actually want more lime juice too. The other night, I think the reason I liked it so much is because I used a lot less soy. So I'm actually going to bump up the amount of sesame oil in it. And I'm going to bump up the amount of lime juice in it. And I'll change those measurements for you in the recipe, okay? So yeah, I wanted more acid. I want more everything except soy. And then a little more sweet. So that's why I put the honey in instead of more cane sugar. Honey dissolves well. Did I get all of that juiciness out of that lime? I think I did. Let's just do a little bit more. Yeah, perfect. All right, so now you've got all of this marinade, and guess what? You can use it for multiple things. So I'm going to put a little bit of it aside right now for the veggies. I'm just going to finish the veggies with this. If I were to cook the veggies in it from the beginning, it would get the veggies would burn. Just going to hold like that much aside, okay? Because once you put chicken in here, it'd be one thing if you were going to cook all the marinade down later in a pan and then you could put it over the chicken. But I don't like the idea of the chicken marinade being anywhere near the vegetables, right? But tonight I'm going to divide this in half as well because I'm going to put some of it on the shrimp. And I've got the shrimp right here. And then I've got the chicken ready as well. I'm just trying to decide if I will be in the mood for shrimp. And I think the answer is yes, I am. So it's just pour. Oh, see, I can see some of the honey and the sugar at the bottom. We want to make sure that gets. Sorry, it's like nails on a chalkboard. There we go. There we go. That's looking good. Let me just coat these with them. I'm going to just let these hang out for a few minutes. Okay, I'll tell you in live time how this tastes by just letting it marinate for probably 5 to 10 minutes while I cook the veggies. But first, let's get the chicken in the marinade as well. And then I can use this another time to bake it off tomorrow, or I could bake it off tonight after it's marinated. I'll give it a little bit longer. And then you could also make the marinade and just put it in the refrigerator, cover the marinade, and use it for up to a week. And then you can have it whenever you want. Cool, right? Once I seal this, I'm going to show you how I'm going to let it really go for a swim. I just don't know how good these bags seal. These are, oh no, they're Ziplocs. Okay. Just going to kind of like let it hang out, right? And I'm putting it in this pan. I'm going to end up cooking them in this pan. And so why not keep it in the fridge like that, right? And then you can turn them so you just make sure that the marinade gets absorbed everywhere. The recipe calls for 8 chicken thighs, boneless, skin on. I'm calling for skin on, bone in because I think the flavor is so much better. It's one thing if you're wanting to make like fun little skewer or something. But when you're cooking whole pieces of chicken, I say skin, bone, all the way. Okay, let me just clean up my little space, get rid of what I don't need, which is the ginger. And then I'm going to show you one thing about mushrooms and zucchini. And we'll let this shrimp hang out. And while that sits and goes for a swim, I'm just going to stir fry the veggies. So the veggies are just my ad. The other night, I knew I wanted some vegetables to go with this chicken, and I happened to have some mushrooms around, and I happened to have some zucchini around. And Lindsay was staying over, and I should call her my daughter. It confuses people. She's not actually my daughter. She's my friend Sunny's daughter, but she's basically my daughter and has lived here some as well. So she was coming over for family dinner, and she loves mushrooms and she loves zucchini. And so I had trumpet mushrooms, which I love because they're really meaty. They're super meaty. And I like shiitake as well. I don't love every kind of mushroom. And so, oops, can you guys see me okay? Sorry, I was trying to look at comments and I'm not as used to Substack. But I love shiitake, which are pretty reasonably priced. And trumpets can be really reasonably priced as well. And so you can keep the stems on most of these. I tend to cut them off if they look like that one doesn't even look that bad, but I cut them off. Just totally depends on what you like. And if they look really kind of yucky, just cut the stems off. But most of them, or you can just barely trim the bottoms of them off, right? They're dirty on the bottom, but all you have to do is take a little tiny slice off. So these look like really big pieces of mushrooms, but they're going to get rid of their moisture. Really, they're going to throw off a lot of water pretty quickly, and then they're going to shrink and they'll be perfect. And they take a little bit longer than the zucchini. So what I'm going to do is get this pan really hot. And this whole meal is going to come together so quickly. The other day, I made coconut rice to go with it too. And Lindsay loved that. I could take those eat rice tonight. I'm really trying to be better about doing my dishes as I go. And the dishwasher's full right now. So I'm trying to put a little soap in the sink and get things cleaned, right? But I could take or leave rice tonight, but coconut rice is amazing. I just put a can of coconut and milk in instead of water and a squeeze of lime juice this time and cooked it in that with the sprinkling of salt. So you get a little bit of balance with the sweet coconut milk and the rice. And it was delicious. But tonight I'm just not in the mood for it. So why bother, right? Okay, let's move this over. I have my bench scraper out, which is like the best tool to use when you're trying to scoop up a lot of things and get them into a pan, or even when you're trying to clean ingredients, right? And get their crumbs off of things. So that's why I've got this ready to go. And let me move the induction cooktop over a little bit. I'm even going to get the soy sauces out of the way because I need a little bit more sesame oil. And that's it. Did I end up using? Oh, yeah, I used all of it. So that's why I used all of it in the marinade. So let's just go to the stove. We're going to get this up to, if I recall correctly, the other night, I did it on 9. Now, one thing is, because this marinade has sugar in it, I'm going to want to have a pan or a plate to put these veggies on pretty quickly after I have the marinade so they don't burn. Same will go for the shrimp. Just use this. This is my last bowl in this size. And so we'll just use it. There's just my spin drift. Okay. So while this heats, recipe of the week. I'm still trying to sort out. I don't know if my meal planning classes on Mondays are that great for anybody. I was laughing because really the anti-inflammatory recipes I cook and the new ones I'm creating are fun and they're new and they're exclusive to you all. So I'm still trying to work out Mondays, but here's what I'm thinking. On Tuesdays, we do a tools and techniques class, right? So next Tuesday, I'll probably teach you how to use a knife and we'll do knife skills. I've done the microplane. I've done a fish spatula. I showed you how to use a stove pan the other day, right? But I think I'll start making those more, you learn techniques as you're using cooking tools as well. Wednesdays will be recipe of the week. Thursdays typically will be my interview/talk show. It's going to be Friday this week. And so that's why I haven't announced it yet. And then Mondays, I'm thinking we need to do something wellness focused. Would any of you be interested if I did on Mondays early in the morning to get myself out of bed? Meditation, weightlifting or, exercises together. Sometimes maybe making something healthy for breakfast, but more like a mindful thing for our body, spirit, different than food. I just thought it would be really nice to maybe one morning a week at least start setting our day right early. Here we go, smoking hot. You guys can see it. Smoke's coming off the pan. And then the trick is you don't want to let these mushrooms move around much at first. You just need to let them sweat. Um, so yeah, I'll be curious. I think I was going to call them Mindful Mondays, but at like 6:30 my time, try something. And maybe I'll do a meditation. I'll lead a meditation. I'm not a meditation expert, but I have some written down that were in my book from my friend Haley Lott, and they're fantastic. Or I can find a meditation and play it for us, right? And then we can plank. You guys know I love to plank. We can do some light weights. We could try some new physical stuff. I think it would be fun to just add a physical component to this. We'll love your feedback. You can always put it in the notes for me, okay? It's so hard for me to let something just sit still. Really hard. Also, if you remember, you'll notice that if you go to my Substack page and it's like a website at the top, I've added a bunch of recipes. I've added a bunch of videos from last week and this week. So, under cooking videos or the cooking videos, the pretend talk shows where I put all of my interviews that I do outside of cooking. I'm looking for another spatula. However, I believe they are all in the dishwasher. But no. I want to give myself it right. Is actually thinking ahead. I love when that happens. Hi, guys. I'm so happy so many of you are here. Thanks for hanging out. I'm still rushing it a little bit, but I can see that they're starting to get brown. Now, here's something to do. If they're getting too dark, if you're on a stainless pan and these start to burn, it's really hard to go back. And so if things are starting to look too hurt, like the bottom of the pan is burning, just add a little water. I feel a little counterintuitive because you're trying to sweat the mushroom, but the hot water will like kind of steam them and then they'll absorb all of it. Salt helps too. Maybe I should just take it up to level 10. Why not? Right. I am really excited about the guests that I have booked for the next few weeks. I have more guests than I know what to do with. I've just literally been acting like my own booking agent and inviting people to come on. And next Thursday, April 2nd, I'm going to have Josh Conley on, who's a breathwork expert. And just, I don't even know how to describe what he does. He's from England and he does a lot of work with sobriety and with toxic relationships. And his personal story is remarkable. And what he's come through in his life, he has witnessed so much pain and experienced so much trauma, yet he has managed to let go. He's a dad of 6. He's been sober for, I think, 13 years now. And he's very young. He's not even 40 years old. He's lived a few lifetimes. But Josh and I are going to get on next week, so a week from tomorrow, and talk about our first retreat that we're doing online, our first wellness retreat online. Called Come Home to Your Body. And we're just going to do it for a couple of hours or like 9 to 11:30 on May 2nd. And what we're going to do is Josh is going to take us through like a journaling exercise and then grounding and breath work to just kind of calm ourselves and like get in touch with, a little bit more ground when there's so much chaos happening in the world. And then I'm going to take us through food, nutrition, ingredients that helps support our nervous system, which I'm so excited about because you really can do that. There are things that are obviously not great for it. Did you guys see how I just added another splash of sesame oil? These mushrooms are looking really good. They're looking really brown. But now I'm going to add the zucchini to the pan too, along with the sprinkling of salt. So, there are ingredients that can kind of get you amped up, some that can calm you and everything in between. Caffeine is obviously a stimulant, one that gets you kind of wired. But there are so many great ingredients that you can use to kind of help balance your nervous system. I think so many of us have been in that fight or flight mode. And when you turn on your phone and you read the news, or if you're involved in the news, anything going on in the world, it's very dysregulating for so many of us. Even when I read about, um, I don't want to put it in your heads, but I just, woke up to a really sad story the other day, and it just felt like it shouldn't be happening. And it just completely threw me off. Right. So Josh and I are going to provide you with some habits and some resources for getting yourself back to center. And then when he comes here, he's coming here from England in November for an in-person retreat on November 15th. We're going to dig a lot deeper, and we're going to spend a full day together in Marin. We'll have an entire Saturday together with a bunch of fantastic programming and really take advantage of having him here. And the nutrition piece for me is just such a joy to do with all of you. So can't wait. Okay, so the zucchini that I diced, it doesn't need much. You just want to take the bite off of it. It's perfect, actually. What was that? A minute or two? But let's add, let me just make sure the mushrooms are good. They're really good. I'm just going to add a little bit of this marinade, but like I said, it's got some sugar, so let's just turn it off. It's going to absorb really quickly. And to coat the veggie. Oh, it smells amazing. Now, if you didn't have extra marinade, you could literally just do these in olive oil. I'm glad I'm making you hungry, Miss Grenada. Oh my gosh. They're so good. As I was saying, you could just do these in olive oil or sesame oil or avocado oil, and they'd still be absolutely delicious. Just a little salt, pepper if you'd like. Or the other day, I just put coconut aminos on them, and they were delicious. Okay, let me rinse this pan because I don't want that sugar on the bottom of the pan when we did the shrimp. I'm going to wipe it out with my towel because, again, normally, when there are good things on the bottom of the pan, it's great to have those left over and you can deglaze it. But I don't want the sugars to burn from the vegetables before I even get to cook. Right. So, while I have a bunch of tiny little dishes I have to do in here, it's hilarious. What I really want right now is a slotted spoon. And I don't have one because that is in the dishwasher, I believe. But let me check one more place. And, nope. I think I'm going to do something smart. I'm going to do something smart right now instead of stupid. I love to do stupid things. Everything's in the dishwasher. It's hilarious. So I'm going to drain some of this marinade off of the shrimp, actually, the majority of it. And then I'll add some back in at the last minute for the same reasons. We don't want to burn all that sugar at the bottom of the pan, right? So I wish I could use this bowl. Actually, if you'll humor me, I'm just going to wash this bowl really fast so that I can use it to serve the shrimp in. I'd rather use this than a plate. And I'll have the veggies ready to go. The funny part is, I could eat all of those vegetables. That's not enough. If this recipe is going to serve 4, I need a lot more vegetables happening for you guys. And I would recommend you just cook all the mushrooms at once and then the zucchini at once, right? Because you want to have enough space to let them sweat and cook. You don't want to steam it all. But this is enough for 2 people. So I'm going to double this vegetable amount before I post the recipe for you all, okay? So you can see I already just put a bunch of the vegetables in one bowl. So after I cook the shrimp, you're just going to go right on top. This is a lot of shrimp. I think it's about a half a pound. The funniest part is I can eat all of this. I love shrimp so much, but it's a little excessive, isn't it? We're just going to see what happens. I can always refrigerate the cooked ones and enjoy them later. Okay, we're going to let this get really hot again though, and they're going to cook in 2 minutes. And I have my spatula ready to push them around. so proud of myself not having a ton of dish. I put all my dishes away before I got started. Wow. This is so easy to make. It took me 2 minutes to pull the ingredients together before I got on here with all of you. So considering I'm doing the vegetables in addition to the proteins, but if you were just doing the chicken, you bake it. So you just make that marinade and toss it in the oven. You know, like I said, if you only have 30 minutes before you need to put it in, that's fine. Give it at least 30 minutes, but you can marinate it for up to 3 hours. I think I'll try it overnight tonight to see if it makes it too salty or if it's okay. Okay, I just put some sesame oil down to keep it from sticking. Let's give them a shake. And then, oop. Yeah, because shrimp can absorb things really easily. They don't need to marinate for as long. I would probably say for the shrimp, I would keep it under an hour, but let's see what they taste like when I only let them go for like 10 or 15 minutes. Okay. We'll look for them to become opaque, which basically kind of like cooked up the sides, right? I could use those tongs. That would make more sense, but oh well. Some of the garlic and the ginger is in the pan. If you want to take that out because you don't want it to burn, that's fine. I'm just going to kind of start putting them around. If I had wok, I would use it. It makes so much sense because since it's rounded like that, it just keeps pulling them back into the hottest part of the pan. And when you're pushing the vegetables and the shrimp around, it just cooks things really evenly, really quickly. So a wok would be great to have right now. I use my fingers way too much in cans. Promise you won't do that. It's terrible about it. Because there's marinade on these, it's a little bit hard to tell when they're done. So they're not done yet. I can see that some of them still look a little like, can you see that? It's not done. Gotta flip it. Nicely browned on one side, but the other is still. And you can kind of see on the sides actually if they're cooked or not. They turn white, right? And this one still kind of got like that pink shine to it. So we're not looking for that. This one needs a little flip. But here's what you risk with the shrimp is that the pan, the marinade starts to burn. And so watch this. I'm just going to put a little of the marinade in. Okay, turn off the heat. And I'm going to rethink telling you to use shrimp for this recipe. Let's just see what happens. Because if the marinade burns on the bottom of the pan, what's the point? It's going to burn the shrimp, and that's not going to be good for you, right? So this is why we recipe test. I might tell you to only use this for steak and chicken, unless you put it in the oven. Shrimp would be kind of weird in the oven, but it would be great on fish. Okay, so let's just give that a rinse because sugar in the pan. I'll turn off this dang induction. It's yelling at me to put a pot on it, of course. At least it knows. Okay, the reason I didn't put the shrimp directly on is because if they're not cooked, I didn't want to pollute my veggies, right? But let's take one that looks good. It's cooked, but barely. This is where we tell the truth, too. I don't know if I'm going to think these are too salty. They're not too salty on their own, but I wouldn't want the marinade on the vegetables next to this. For some reason, chicken comes out sweeter. And yeah. So I'm going to give the shrimp like a 6.5 from 1 to 10. It's good, but I would actually lower the soy for it. So I'm going to rethink that before I write up shrimp into the recipe, okay? However, let's take a bite of these veggies. Don't get me wrong, the shrimp is really tasty. It's just I'm thinking, and I'll combine a bite of the vegetables with the shrimp, and you'll be able to tell by my face what I think. Mm. If you're a vegetarian, tofu. Mm. Tofu would be great with this because it would absolutely soak up the marinade. You know what I would call this with the shrimp? One note. It's not very complex when you have the marinade on both things. Whereas when I had it on the chicken was almost sweeter in a way. And maybe it's because it caramelizes in the oven more, but this just all kind of ends up tasting the same. And the marinade is delicious, but it doesn't make me say, wow, having those two things together. So that's just me. You know what else would be great though? If you had the coconut rice to offset the savory part of the soy here and you had the sweeter coconut rice, that would probably be the solution. But I'm just lukewarm on it, on the shrimp. I taste more soy than anything else. Um, that just means it's absorbing a ton of sodium as well, right? So I think I'll just explain how to do these if you wanted to do shrimp, but change it a little bit for you. And then I'll keep the instructions for chicken and steak and tofu. Okay. So thank you for joining me for the recipe of the week. If you have any requests, I would love to hear them. I have so many recipes to teach you, so many new ones that I've been working on, and you guys get to see them first. A lot of them haven't even, well, they haven't come out yet because my new book's not out, but I created some great new recipes that I can't wait to share with you. So I might surprise everybody and be back tomorrow morning and test out this idea of like a wellness wake up meditation slash exercise situation at 6:30 Pacific time because it'll make me wake up. So 12 hours from now, okay? All right, everybody have a great night. I'll see you soon and thanks for joining me. Bye.